Con los terroristas.
That is the Norwegian army doing the Harlem Shake. Well, if you haven't heard of the Harlem Shake, man, you are out of it. It's the latest viral video craze to sweep the internet since that red-hot dance video, Gangnam Style. And you should pay attention to this one. John Jergensen is here to tell us why. Hi, John. How you doing?
Good morning.
All right, so some people, if they're not up on this, they're not feeling very hip right now, because I've just told them they've got to get in on this craze here. Why is it sweeping the internet so much? Why is this going viral so fast?
Well, it's like a lot of internet memes we've seen before. The concept is really simple. It's something you see and you immediately understand. And for those of us who are so inclined, it's very easy to replicate and do your own spin on it, however you happen to be. It involves some dancing, maybe a group of friends, a little bit of cutting in the video, and the same 30 seconds of the same song that everyone's using. So the formula and the blueprint's pretty damn simple.
And we're watching on screen, we just saw sort of the basic format of this dance, which is one person stands up and starts moving a little bit to the beat, starts dancing, and then all of a sudden cut to, there's a whole crowd of people dancing. Is that basically the gist of what the Harlem Shake is?
That's pretty much the gist of it. It doesn't get more complicated than that. No one's really going to argue that this is an important cultural event. I mean, I think people see it for what it is, which is a fun fad that you can do with your friends or your office coworkers. But the thing that we found kind of interesting about this, and people I've talked to found interesting, is the speed and the spread at which this has proliferated. So, within 2 weeks or even less, really, of this thing starting, you had hundreds of thousands, 100,000 or so videos that were sort of imitating this style. You had people jumping in on it, not just internet savvy people, but you had regular office workers, you had corporations who were doing their own branded take on it. So it just spread very, very quickly, and people pointed out that this is the way things move now. In essence, web culture is popular culture. There's no real separation between the two. What's happening on the web is happening in our real lives, and that kind of cross current is pretty interesting.
And John, it's interesting because we just saw the Georgia swim team underwater doing this dance. I mean, that has to take a lot of time to choreograph, to execute. I'm just thinking to myself, who has time to put all this together? But, at one point I read, you just mentioned how many were up there, that 4,000 videos a day were being uploaded.
Or other things that are sweeping the country. You always wonder where people are finding the time for this stuff.
But it's also, an interesting twist to sort of this new future of music. I mean, this song was produced by a DJ who is now, kind of staying behind the scenes. I'm surprised he's not out front more, but he is getting money from this. So this isn't just a fad that we, can brush off. I mean, this is a real new business model for a lot of these singers, songwriters, DJs, isn't it?
Right. Well, I don't know if I would call it a model, because the one thing that you learn from memes like this is you can't make them happen. Right. This happened completely accidentally to Bauer, who was the name the DJ you're referring to. He just made the song and people picked up on it. He had nothing to do with the videos, really. So it's kind of happened in spite of himself, really. So he does make money when these songs are played on YouTube. Every time someone uses that song on YouTube and ads are placed against it, he gets a little bit of money, as does his record label and people who hold his publishing. So that adds up to something. He's still making more money off of the downloads. When you're clicking iTunes and buying that song off iTunes, he's making a little bit more money on that than he was for the advertising. But in the sum total, that advertising money does add up. Right. And also, Billboard is now recognizing YouTube views. For the first time this week, Billboard is accounting for YouTube views in its pop charts. So as a result, Bauer has hit the #1 on the Hot 100, which is sort of the flagship singles chart in the country.
And that's interesting. We just saw not only humans, but some of our furry friends enjoy the Harlem Shake as well. We saw some dogs there doing it. We also have a basketball team here. But John, really, you're saying how this is taking off and how the social media aspect of it is sweeping the country so quickly that companies are actually getting in on it. I know that Pepsi jumped on this as well. So it's not just, again, someone sitting at home uploading to YouTube. Corporations are taking notice.
Right. The currency now is being able to recognize what's happening in the culture and react with really fast speed. So you saw this in the Super Bowl when the blackout happened and Oreo threw up kind of its own little take on the blackout, and people praised Oreo for moving so quickly. So now you have these kind of rapid response teams when it comes to brands, and their idea is if they can be on the early side of a trend like this as it blows up, they can reap some benefits.
All right, John, thank you so much for bringing this to us. I think everyone now feels informed and up to date on the latest internet craze. And I want to see your video on Monday. So why don't you start doing the Harlem Shake, and I promise I'll jump in on it as we go, and we'll have it next week, right? Okay, are you with me on that?
I'll get on that.
Okay, great. Have a great weekend.